here at Simply Rustic by Stearman and Sons, and today this has just arrived. I needed a router for in the van just for doing roundovers, mainly, you know, the odd bits of trimming up and what have you, but I needed something cordless, and my usual cordless brand, which is Von House, don't have a router, but I do have a few Ryobi cordless tools, so I thought I'd give the Ryobi Palm router a bash. We had a few good reviews on Facebook and YouTube, so the reviews I've read so far, I say for the sort of work that I'm going to be doing with, it's great. So let's see what we get. I think the first job I'm going to try with it is trimming up the edge of a piece of wood. So I'll give that a whirl first. So to change the bit, like on any router, is a fairly simple job. There's just a locking button there, so once you've slid your router bit in, you can lock that off and then tighten up. Should be more than ample. We've just got one really straight piece of wood and then one with all sorts of kinks and bows. So we're going to see just if we can use a little trim bit just to mirror this nice straight piece of wood. So that's one of the main jobs that I'm going to be using it for out in the van. You know, when we're doing like a pallet wall, just so you know every board's going to sit flush. Usually we're planing the boards up before we go, but if you get there and you need an extra little piece, I always have a little stock of pallet wood in the van. It's just good to be able to trim the edge off a board and straighten it up while you're out and about if you need to. Okay. Now I'm really putting it to the test because this board is really bad. So in the centre there is a lot to trim off. So it may need a few passes to get through that. So we can really sort of put this little router to the test. Let's see if it's any good. Already, I'm fairly impressed. What I said in the middle was like a really thick area, we're going to need a lot of passes. It's took it straight off. It's pretty good so far. Yeah, purposely left that really thick in the middle. Left it overhanging more at either end, so it was really overhanging in the middle to put it to the test. And it stormed through it, absolutely stormed through that in one pass. I just went back and cleaned it up really, but yeah, that's pretty good so far. Let's just have a little go with a rounder. Like with any router, always make sure you remove the power source before you start changing the bits. You do not want to be putting your fingers in there while you've got power on there. We're going to try a round over bit, see how that performs, but so far I'm fairly impressed with this. I've never had a battery router before and I didn't think it'd have that much power, but it stormed through that. We'll see what the round over's like. Again, I'm really impressed. This is just an old, I've just picked any old piece of pallet board out of the rack, but it's cutting through that really nicely. There's just one more feature we need to have a look at, and that is what I call the fence, the guard. You know, for doing a straight edge inside. It's not something that I'm going to use very often, but it comes with it, so let's see how it performs. So far, I'm not blown away with the design of it. It looks like you have to actually dismantle it each time you use it to be able to screw. You see, they have to be screwed in there, so I suppose you could, just so you didn't have to take it out of that every time, is you could loosen these two wing nuts, so you could spin that around, but it's not really going to save you much time. You're still going to have to wind those in and out separately every time you want to use them. But then I suppose having wing nuts sticking out of here to save that like you would on a big router is then going to maybe get in the way and ruin the small design of the router. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a reason behind it, but that is a bit of a farce. So, I have to use the bit that comes with it, see if it's any good. I purposely went fairly deep then, just to see what we could really push out of this router. And honestly, it didn't struggle that badly. It kept nice and straight. I mean, obviously we'll trim this edge up ready for that, but I think the beauty of this router is it's so easy to hold. It's so small and compact. It's really, really easy to use. It's much easier to use than both my bigger routers. I do have a couple of different routers, and this is it's easy to hold, it's compact. Now for me, I do not claim to be a router expert. I don't claim to be a whiz with a router. I don't claim to be, brilliant at using a router at all. I can do the basics with it, and that's all. Trimming up bits of wood, doing roundovers, cutting little channels for sticking a phone in on a bath caddy, and that is about my router capabilities. But this, for someone who is just starting out using a router, is much nicer to use than a big plunge router, just because it's so easy to hold, it's nice and comfortable in the hand, it's compact. Having the wire, one thing that I struggle with the router is you get so far down your pass, and then your wire is like, oh, do you need to change? And then you think you're overthinking things. Just not having that wire hanging around, restricting you, makes life a lot easier. If you was just starting out with a router, maybe not just this router, but a little cordless palm router, I think would give you so much more confidence in using a router. This is so easy to use. I mean, once you've got the back off, let's take this back off. Let's just say you're doing roundovers. That's the first thing I learned to do with a router. So you see what I mean about taking this on and off? So let's say you're doing a roundover. round over bit back in. I'll show you best I can. So you want to set this round over bit up. All you need to do is unclip there, and you're going to slide it up to about where you think. Okay, so once you've got that in there, you've then got the micro adjustments here, and it's just so easy. You know, you're not having to hold anything, move anything back. You can literally just wind that up and down using your micro adjustment. Once I've got that in the right place, lock. And that's set now. That's set and good to go, and we can start routing. It's just so easy. You know, there's not much to think about. There's not much can go wrong. Say if you're just starting out a router journey, I would say get yourself a little cordless router. If there's one thing I could add to this maybe, and I don't think that Ryobi do one, would be a little plunge base. You know, the Makita cordless palm router does have a little plunge base that you can use, so that would be a nice feature to add to this. But as a standalone palm router, that isn't bad at all. You know, it works really well. It's comfortable in the hand. This is where you're supposed to hold it. I don't know how you're supposed to route like that. I'm not saying that you should do it like this, but I much prefer to hold it there. Just be wearing in mind that that's where your bit is. So if you were to maybe hold it like that and your finger went in there, you'd probably lose the end of it. So I found holding it, you know, in my hand, with my hand around the back, it's perfectly safe around there. There's nothing there. That was a much more comfortable way to run through the pass like that. I just think holding it, I think that's a silly place to put the grip zone. I don't know how you can expect to have any stability over the router holding it on an angle and halfway up there. That seems like a much more comfortable place to hold it, obviously being very wearing in mind that if you put your hand on the opposite side, you're probably going to end up sticking your finger in there. So I hope you found that useful. If you're looking to buy yourself a little palm router, do look at Ryobi. I know they do get very mixed reviews, but I do know a lot of tradespeople that use them. That has performed perfectly well, and it's a really nice to use and hold, especially if you're new to routing. I'm fairly new to using a router, and that just for me is really nice to use, really easy to use. The compact size of it, the weight of it, everything just makes my life so much easier for using, especially I think for a beginner. I've never ever had a palm router, and I wish I'd have had a palm router before I bought a plunge router, because that's just been so much easier for me to use. And I think first starting out, I wouldn't have got disheartened and thought, I can't do this, this is too hard, and put it to one side and decided routing's not for me. I think if I'd have started out with a nice small compact palm router, I would have stuck at it better, and I think I'd be further along in my routing journey now. I just found that so much nicer and easier to use. So guys, if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget you need to hit that subscribe button and click the bell notification so you get notified when our new videos come out. If you want to see more tool reviews and more simple woodworking for simple woodworkers just like me, then please do hit the subscribe button, like and share and all that jazz. See you soon guys.